In this video, I'm going to teach you one hack that can boost your credit rating by over 50 points in one day. This is Danny Gould with the Selling Silicon Valley Group. Welcome to another video. And in this video, I'm going to cover the one hack that I've uncovered that can help boost your credit score in less than 24 hours by over 50 points. But before we get into the video, if you are a home buyer looking for loan products for your specific situation, go ahead and text the word loan, that's loan, to the number down below. And we will get back to you and talk to you about different products that me and my team have available right now to help you make a purchase here in the Bay Area or Silicon Valley or wherever you're buying. Definitely right now is an interesting time. There are so many banks that have pulled out of the marketplace, right, because of COVID, and banks are starting to come back, lenders are starting to come back into the mix. But what we're finding is that there are a lot of home buyers right now that are struggling because the credit scores that were allowed are no longer allowed in many cases. And so the credit rating or the overall risk tolerance for lenders right now is lower, right? So they have less risk that they want to take on. And so you need a higher credit score in order to qualify for a lot of these loan products. And so I recently, if you've been watching my video, just purchased a home. And in this process, I had a very negative, we'll say very negative experience with a lender that was referred to me who pulled my credit over 8 times in the span of 45 days. So that brought down my credit score significantly. After I restarted the loan with another lender, my credit score had dipped before below the threshold that I needed in order to qualify for the loan product that my girlfriend and I wanted. Now, we could still qualify for the loan, but the interest rate was going to be higher. So what we wanted was to lock in that super low rate. And so I learned this one hack that was incredibly useful and helpful that I believe will be useful and helpful to some of you who are watching this video. Now, before we get into the video and everything, just a quick disclaimer, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a tax advisor, I'm not anything. So if, you know, this is all for entertainment, and the disclaimer is hashtag don't sue me, right? Well, you can't sue me because I just put this disclaimer. This is all for entertainment purposes. So take all of what I'm about to say with a grain of salt and do your own research. But I highly recommend that you do your own research because this trick is gold. Now, as you may or may not know, your credit rating actually has many components to it, right? And I really don't know all of the different components. I mean, there's a lot, right? But some of them are like, what's your credit balance? How many delinquencies? How many lates do you have? Do you have any outstanding debt? How long is your outstanding debt? So as I found out, there are all these like little inputs and nuances into what the bureaus use to calculate your credit score, right? And one of the individual inputs is length of credit history, like longest credit line, right? Or length of your longest credit line. And being in my 20s, you know, the longest credit line that I've had is less than 10 years old. I think it's like 8 or 9 years old, which honestly isn't terrible, but it's not the best, right? And so this one hack that we used was able to really lengthen the amount of time that my longest credit line history reflected, if that makes sense. I don't know if that made sense, but it makes sense in my head. So what we did is I actually went to my dad, who honestly is very well off and is successful. And so I'm fortunate enough to have that. And so I went to my dad and he added me as an authorized user to 4 of his credit card lines, the longest of which had been opened in 1990. So I went from an 8-year credit history to a 30-year credit history overnight. Now here's some cool things. As an authorized user on his account, it doesn't impact his score or impact anything on him. And I don't even need to use the cards in order for that to reflect on my credit report. And so what happened is that once he added me as an authorized user to those 4 cards, my credit score jumped 70 points in one day. 70 points in one day, all because he added me as an authorized user to these 4 credit cards. So the more credit cards you get added to, the more credit lines you get added to, the better, because you have multiple credit lines open, right? So that's one input. So the more credit lines you have open, actually, the better. And then length of credit. So a lot of those credit lines had been opened for 10, 20, and then like 30 years, which was the longest one, 1990. So that helped boost my score dramatically. Now, obviously, I'm very aware that not everyone watching this video has that luxury, right? Has the ability to go to a parent or go to a relative or something and ask for that. And so definitely not everyone is going to be able to implement this particular hack. And I am very aware of what a privilege this is, and I'm very grateful for being able to go to my dad and ask him for this. The amazing thing is that my credit score jumped so much that I actually got into the next threshold of credit score, which brought my interest rate down even lower than what I had initially wanted it to be. What's crazy to me is that no one had ever recommended I do this before. The thing is that regardless of what happens with my credit, that doesn't impact my dad's credit at all, because we're on separate accounts. And as long as I don't use the cards, then it doesn't really matter, right? Because it's not going to reflect on his credit history, right? Or it's not going to show up. He's not going to be in debt because of it. It's really a win-win. Well, it's not a win for him, but it's a win for me, right? And it's no skin off of his back. There's really no risk to him as long as I don't spend any money on the cards. Which obviously, like, if you're a parent and you're watching this video, if you're a parent and you are thinking about doing this, you don't even need to give your kid the card. You can literally cut it up. They never use it, but they're an authorized user, and that boosts their credit rating instantly, overnight. So anyways, guys, I hope you found this particular piece of advice helpful. Again, it's not for everyone. Everyone can implement it. But if you can find someone, it doesn't even need to be a parent. It can literally be anyone with an amazing credit rating that's had their credit cards for a long time. If you have credit lines that have been open for a very long time, but there's massive amounts of debt on it, then that's probably not a good thing, right? Like, I'm no credit expert, but I would assume that, you know, if that credit card's been delinquent for, like, 3 years and you get added to it, that's going to bring your score down. So get added as an authorized user to credit lines that have been in good standing for a long period of time, and your score is bound to go up dramatically overnight. This is Danny Gould, everyone, with the Selling Silicon Valley Group, and I will catch all of you in the next video.